Good morning. It's Wednesday, February 8th. On this day in 1965, the first black major in the U.S. Army, Martin Robinson Delaney, was appointed. Lady T coming to you from Cheryl's World with a morning news report to help keep you aware of things going on in your world. First, looking into weather conditions from around the globe, in Bata, Equatorial Guinea, it's 78 degrees and cloudy. A frigid 3 degrees in Samara, Russia, and a little closer to Cheryl's World, it's 40 degrees in Dallas, Texas. Targeting an increasing epidemic, yesterday marked National HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. This initiative was designed to spread the importance of getting tested, knowing how to prevent contraction, and the treatment available to those diagnosed. Although February 7th marked this important awareness day, everyone is encouraged to get tested by going to your local clinic or visiting www.hivtest.org. In national headlines, in Puyallup, Washington, father Josh Powell killed his two sons, then himself, setting their home on fire. There is evidence that Powell used a hatchet to chop 7-year-old Charlie and 5-year-old Braden on their necks on Sunday before killing himself. Before taking these horrific actions, Powell donated toys and books and sent out many emails saying goodbye, according to local authorities. Covering U.S. lawmaking announcements, a bill is currently circulating in Congress to stop those who receive welfare in the form of temporary assistance for needy families, also known as TANF, and debit cards used toward casinos and strip clubs. The House passed the bill with a 395 to 27 vote and is now being reviewed by the Senate, who make or break this racy decision. California's Proposition 8, a law that constitutes the grounds for marriage between a man and a woman, is being challenged once again after it was made legal by previous federal district court judge Vaughn Walker, who was gay himself. Current district court judge James Ware says Walker made the same-sex marriage law valid due to Walker's own sexual orientation. This issue is likely to be presented to the U.S. Supreme Court following the vote to ban same-sex marriage that took place Tuesday. Staying up with international desires, union members in Greece are protesting job and salary cuts along with modified pensions and tax reforms. Greece is in dire need of a bailout to stabilize the European economy that has led to these changes. Prime Minister Lucas Papademos is working with banks and investors to get a €130 million bailout deal. Hoping for a bright future, Miramount Elementary School in Los Angeles will reopen after 2 cases of child abuse were reported. Mark Burnt and Martin Bernard Springer, teachers, are on trial for being inappropriate with the students. The janitor in the same district was also reported to have been acting lewdly and is facing $100,000 in bail. On the bright side, new teachers and personnel are in the process of being hired, and these applicants include employees in the same district. School will reopen for Miramount Elementary tomorrow. Following sports, in football, the African Cup of Nations is coming up with an expected 7,000 and counting in the semifinals. This televised event will take place in the 40,000-seated Libreville Arena in Equatorial Guinea. Zambia will match up against Ghana on Wednesday, which is today. And this has been Lady T with the Morning Headline Report. Please be sure to stay tuned. Cheryl's World will continue after this break.
Major Delaney, the first black field officer in the U.S. Army, quickly organized schools, farms, farmers, freedmen, and tried to reason with the disenfranchised plantation owners who were always trying to tie the new freedmen into enslaving contracts, exploiting their illiteracy. But Delaney, they loved. He was one of them, and he told it to them straight.
I came to talk to you in plain words so as you can understand how to open the gates of oppression and let the captive free. In this state, there are 200,000 able, intelligent, honorable Negroes, not an inferior race, mind you. I want to tell you one thing. Do you know that if it was not for the black man, this war never would have been brought to a close with success? Do you know that? Do you know that?
But they would be asked to submit again, and soon. For the moment a bullet penetrated the great liberator's brain at Ford's Theater, no such a grand promise of land and freedom would ever hold. In May, just a month later, the newly appointed President Andrew Johnson ordered all these lands, those not properly surveyed, returned to some 300 plantation owners, even if someone else's crop was already growing in the field. One freedman in South Carolina wrote to President Andrew Johnson himself, "We have been ready to strike for liberty and humanity, yea, to fight, if need be, to preserve the glorious Union. And now we are ready to pay for this land. Sign contracts with your older master and work their land as partners." This was the plea to most freed blacks. Throughout that long summer, Delaney's superiors, General Howard and Saxton, avoided the orders from Johnson and eventually defied them outright until September, when they broke the news to the freedmen they loved so much. A freedman and farmer on Edisto Island wrote his friend General Howard, "You ask us to forgive the landowners of our island. You only lost your right to arm in war and might forgive them. The man who tied me to a tree and gave me 39 lashes, who stripped and flogged my mother and sister, and who will not let me stay in his empty hut unless I do his planting, that man I cannot forgive. General, we cannot remain here." Many left South Carolina. Some stayed and fought and were beaten. Delaney fought.
Every species of infamy, however atrocious, private and public, barefaced in open daylight, is defiantly perpetrated under the direction and guidance of the despicable political leaders in the sacred name of republicanism and radicalism. But these Yankees talk smooth to you. Oh yeah, their tongues roll just like the drum. They don't pay you enough. I was told to stay out of politics. The 40 acres and a mule promised to freedmen were already secretly being returned to the planters, courtesy of the tireless machinations of Trescott and Williams in Washington. They even got General Sherman to write President Johnson.
On the brink of being court-martialed himself for his opposition, General Howard wrote his superiors, "The lands which have been taken possession by this Bureau have been solemnly pledged to the freedmen. Thousands of them are already located on tracts of 40 acres each. The love of the soil and desire to own farms amounts to a passion. It appears to be the dearest hope of their lives." Within 2 years, the Freedmen Bureau had its main function of redistributing the lands to previous owners and apologizing for it. General Saxton had been reassigned, Howard court-martialed. But Lieutenant Colonel Delaney pressed on. a survivor who had made